Hey, I'm Trey Rentz, and this is my friend
Joseph Coatney.
And this is another episode of Rennie and Doc, the critically acclaimed. I say it every time. I don't know if I say that every time, but I mean to say it every time.
You should,
because boy, we're up in the charts, like the video podcast charts on YouTube, and boy, it's almost we're breaking the glass ceiling of late 30s white guys.
Yeah.
we're finally getting our
It's a small
our
demographic.
Due. Yeah. So, welcome to another episode. I'm having a strange sense of deja vu today.
It's almost like, yeah.
It's almost as if we were just here yesterday, and we were sitting in these very seats.
It's true.
And talking to these very microphones about this very subject in which we're about to proceed into, because yet again, the thing failed.
Yeah.
And I'm starting to realize, people tell me often, get new stuff. And I think, it works. What I got works. And then I think, well, maybe it is time to start looking into something.
Because you're going to have to relearn everything because it's going to be different.
That's not just, relearning is not so bad, but we talked about this before, but the equipment that I have is 20 years old.
Yeah.
I mean, it's for me. I mean, it still works, but everything like technology has got to be so much farther advanced than even we could imagine. Well, we could probably imagine. We're very smart guys.
I don't know. I could imagine quite a bit.
But I figure we get into the videos before we get into this long drudging. It's not necessarily. I don't want to say drudging. I don't want to put the world off on the podcast. And I was taking a shower today, and I have a lot of very illuminating thoughts in the shower.
Yeah.
A lot of shower thoughts. And I wonder if you even get this reference, but the reason I say the world, and I like to say, instead of saying the audience or the people, the world, is from that Norm Macdonald joke.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
about World War II.
And who does he choose to go to war with?
Yeah. The world.
The world.
So that's just a inside
I didn't
comedy
catch
reference.
that.
But I think it's funny to call him the world. And it works. It is the world.
It is.
YouTube, I think, goes across the whole world. But I was looking last night, and I saw this, and it kind of pissed me off. And I wanted to get your thoughts. I don't know if it has any sound.
Oh, good Lord.
Here we go.
I mean, I could sit on that.
You could, but you pay for the spikes to go back down.
What happens when the timer runs out? That's scary.
It gives you a spike enema. Now, some people might like that. I don't.
By an artist,
but it doesn't even go all the way down. That's the funny thing. But that's just another way for them to gouge you to sit on. And I guess you could make. They have some of these things in big cities for
anti-homelessness.
Oh, yeah, like deterrents for that. But this is for everybody. I think
that's messed up.
Yeah, it's just don't sit here.
That's like that bicycle video I sent you a while back. The theft rehabilitation bicycle that when you sat on the seat, it pushed a rod out.
I don't remember that.
Oh, well.
So you send a lot of stuff. Yeah. You send quite a lot of stuff, Joe. And that's fine. We need things for the show. So, which, there's always a plethora of things. But this I think this one actually ties in a little bit to the subject at hand. And I know that you you went through a little phase of like micro pictures. Like you bought a thing to put on your phone.
macro lens, yeah.
Is it a macro lens? Micro.
Macro.
Why is it macro?
I don't know.
Huh. Seems like it'd be micro. Anyways. Nevertheless, I thought this was very interesting. Now.
Oh boy, this is going to be rough, isn't it?
These are the kind of videos that I think people try to deter people from eating meat.
Yeah.
But
I will say right now, whatever I see, no matter how vile, will not stop me from having a hot dog.
Oh boy, I love a hot dog too. But this kind of stuff is in just about everything you eat. I mean, you're not supposed to see this level of detail in the food that you eat. Now, what
is that, you think?
It may be plastics, or it may be heavy metals. Like when things grind these things up.
That's true. Yeah, pieces come off.
Yeah, it's inevitable.
It's like
it actually happens.
A file, you're degrading the file as well.
That kind of stuff happens on your kitchen knives too.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes you'll cut a hot dog.
Yeah.
And you put it in the microwave to warm it up, and it'll start pop 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 because it's a little bitty thing. So you just can't get away from it.
I would venture even to say that if I did this at home, I would still take a bite of that after looking at it.
Well, yeah. Joe, everything has small little animals or small little entities in it. I mean, that's just the world that we live in. We eat microbes. We have microbes living in our guts.
Yeah, we couldn't digest anything.
Hundreds of thousands, I'm sure. Yeah, look at that. See? People don't like that.
No.
But I think people don't like it because they don't think about it.
Yeah.
They don't think about, oh, well, there's this whole other world that we have that we just can't see. Part of our perception of the dimensions, kind of, I think that plays in. Because do those microbes know that we're here? Or they're just on a thing and they just live their lives?
The microbes that like live in your stomach, that's their world.
Right. They come home just like we all do and say, what's for dinner? And she says, well, I didn't have time, so we're having hot dogs. And he said, have you seen those videos with the hot dogs and stuff all in it? So, yeah, it's all the same. As the world turns, Joe.
It is funny because my wife told me about one of her kids in her class was asking where chicken nuggets came from. And she told her that it was a chicken. And the kid, I mean, it's a child, but couldn't wrap their mind. And I think even adults are kind of like that. Like,
yeah,
I've seen videos of people going, like, being shocked that potatoes are pulled out of the ground. Like, it's just like a grocery store
people are just
item.
Out there.
Yeah,
hey.
It's in the grocery store. That's where you get it.
Yeah,
that's where they come from.
I mean, it's surprising, but it's also not surprising at the same time because people just kind of mosey on through. I'm a cowboy now. That's what I say, mosey. But so we're gonna get into this. This flows into. We've already seen this. Like we said, it failed yesterday, but we're gonna trudge through.
Okay.
And
this guy from Ireland created.
This is about my. I'm going to listen this time. I didn't listen last time. I was talking over the whole thing.
This is how it works. Fionn Ferreira adds a magnetic liquid known as ferrofluid.
Because I didn't understand how he did it.
Like magic, this special liquid binds to the tiny microplastic particles. By simply using another magnet, those bound microplastics can be drawn out, removing the plastic particles from the water. It removes up to 85% of microplastics in a single go, and the process is still improving. Almost all of this magnetic liquid can be reused, and it can be repeated
still only
to remove
85%
even
though.
more. The process is far cheaper than many similar alternatives, and it can easily be scaled to treat large volumes of water. Once the process is finished, the water is safe to drink and the plastic can be recycled. Microplastics have been found all over, from the snowy peaks of Mount Everest to the deepest trenches of the ocean, and even in the food we eat and in human lungs. And whilst many great initiatives focus on removing larger plastics, inventions like Fionn's could be the key to capturing those tricky, tiny fragments littering our planet. And it could help us create a few...
I don't quite understand how it works, but
well, how could you? I mean, with that kind of stuff, I said it yesterday. I think that anytime you come up with this new thing, there's always like the next 50 years. You go, oh, you remember that thing that did that good thing? Oh, it also causes strokes and cancer and stuff like that. So, not all the time, but it does seem to be a trend that does happen. Way too much.
Well, a lot of that stuff you couldn't foresee happening.
No, and if it fixes a big enough problem quick enough, then it would almost be wrong of you to not do it.
Yeah,
and do like instead of doing a study for 10 years.
And how do you study like long-term stuff? You know, like let's say I invented a medicine that cures Alzheimer's, but it gives you cancer in 4 years.
Right. And you can't know because I think they use it a lot of as like extrapolation from small, like they go, well, it doesn't do anything for 6 months. Yeah. So if we think it's not going to do it, then that's probably how they judge it. But nevertheless, so microplastics, we're going to retread, Joe. Let's pretend that we've never done this before.
The land of make-believe.
No, so okay. If I can find my mouse here, we went through this. There was 2 articles that popped up for the world. Microplastics have been found in everything almost. Here's the one with they found in human placentas. Now, I don't know what the study was for, but they found it in every single person they studied.
That's wild.
And I don't know what... I don't know.
Making babies out of plastic now.
That's true. Plastic babies.
That's where dolls come from.
That's just like, what were we talking about? The because of nobody knows where the food comes from.
Yeah.
We're teaching kids. So this one is a study that found microplastics in all the meat. That actually did, I didn't say it yesterday, but that surprised me the most.
I think it did me too.
But it makes sense if the animals are eating things in the world that we also have microplastics in.
I didn't even think about that part. Right. I was thinking of the processing of the meat, but when you said...
But the plants, though.
That's true.
Well, I bet it's not in... Well, do you think it's in the plants growing, or is it after the plants have been taken and then processed? Then the processing itself is what puts the...
If I had to guess, I would guess the processing.
That makes sense. Makes you go, well, what does this mean, Trey? What are you getting at? What's the big hoopla here? And I say this. I have a hypothesis. You know about it already.
Yes.
I think that because of all these plastic, or maybe this is a small contributor or a large one, just one of the contributors of a compound in most of the things we have in the world now. It didn't used to be, but now it is, of estrogenic compounds or synthetic estrogens. And they're not all synthetic.
Yeah.
Like plant estrogens, or I think they call them phytoestrogens, for phyto is plant. But we're eating and consuming and living in and bathing in and ingesting all sorts of synthetic and plant estrogens, and I think that it is causing a lot of problems. One of such problem that I think it is causing is there was a story, or I don't know if it was a story. Maybe it was a story. I think I pulled it up. Early puberty, and you know about this.
Yeah, that blew my mind.
Yeah, and people don't know why, but this is my possible why. Mm-hmm. And I think it makes a lot of sense. If we're consuming more and more estrogens than we ever have before in the microplastics, because everything we have...
Yeah, see, I didn't know that about the microplastics.
Yeah. Well, you knew a little bit about it.
I knew about microplastics. I didn't know about the...
You didn't know they were estrogenic. Yeah. And I don't think most people do. Now, they have talked about it. I think we talked about it yesterday about BP, which is an additive, or maybe it's a type of plastic compound that's, I don't think is used as much anymore, but I said yesterday, I'm just going to stop saying that because let's just all assume that we talked about this before, but the world did not hear it. So I do chuckle in my head every time I say it. But so BP, they don't use anymore, but I said yesterday, I just said I wasn't going to say it, but I said it anyways. And anyways, if they change one little piece or one little molecule in the compound, they can repatent it as a different compound, even though it basically works the same way. Now, I say that to say this. It's not just plastics, like I said. It's also in soy, and soy is a giant crop.
Is it in soy naturally?
Yes.
Okay.
So, but most people, I think, unless you're maybe Chinese, don't eat a lot of tofu.
Yeah.
But they do add, like, there's an additive, I think it's soy lecithin or something like. Have you seen that on a label?
Yeah.
I read a lot of labels.
Yeah.
It's one of my things. But, so it's in soy. A lot of people, well, we didn't used to have as much soy as we do now. But another reason why I say it's ramping up like this. Another one is cannabis, weed. Mm-hmm. A lot more people having that. Now it's kind of in the zeitgeist now of being somewhat kind of the same as alcohol. Yeah. Or like not quite the same, but
getting there.
It's definitely trending upward. Mold is another one. I don't think that's as big a thing, but I said before that most coffee, especially ground coffee, has a mycotoxin in it that is also estrogenic.
Yeah, that blew my mind.
And I think most people drink coffee. Now, that has not... do you think that's ramped up?
Coffee drinking?
I know it's everybody had.
I think all the young people are drinking energy drinks.
That's true, but one could say that the olden days, your dad, excuse me, your dad get up, have a cup of coffee, what's like 6-8 ounces, and then call it a day, go to work. Now we're drinking coffee all the time, every day. I drink it all the time.
I do too.
I might have a coffee at night. But I drink.
This is my. I made a cup this morning. I got this on the way over here.
And every day, I will have 6 cups of coffee. I'll take it in a big thermos, and I just kind of
That's about how much I drink as well.
So maybe it's gone up. Maybe. I don't think that's the biggest thing. Another one, herbicides, weed killers, glyphosate, atrazine. These are the 2 main ones. Sprayed on every singer
and songwriter in the world.
And you wonder what happened to Jim Morrison? So everything that you eat that grows is sprayed with a herbicide.
And everything that I eat that it eats
is also sprayed.
Yeah.
Yes. All estrogenic compounds. The soap that you use, they have something called parabens in it. Also estrogenics.
I did not know that.
Yep.
Estrogenic.
all bind to the estrogen receptor and cause problems. Sunscreen. Most people didn't use sunscreen.
I know.
It didn't even exist for the longest time until, I don't know, maybe one of the 50s. I don't know when it was.
I'm not sure,
but now everybody uses it. I myself stopped using it unless I'm going to be out all day.
Yeah,
because it's just it can't be good for you. You put it on, it soaks in
chemicals.
Yeah, and it gets in. I think it gets into your bloodstream.
I'm sure it does.
That can't be the best thing.
I just try to avoid the sun because of me pale Irish skin.
Me pale Irish. But no, so it's in the water. It's I think after we recorded the last episode that failed, we talked about it being in fish, and it's just out in the ocean. So
yeah,
and I assume that's because of pollutants of us, but it's just the way it is now. So everything that you touch, I'm sure. This has something in it that's got estrogens in it.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the reasons, along with another reason that I could get into, of men having low testosterone now. In greater numbers.
I could see that. I mean, you basically listed just life.
I did list life is estrogenic. Yeah. It didn't used to be, but it is now. But you could also blame... I feel like a conspiracy guy. I feel like Alex Jones right now. But I think this is based, much like Alex Jones, he tries to base it, I think. Now, say what you want, but at least I think this is a good hypothesis of why everything sucks in health. Or not everything, but a real big stick in the craw of healthy people. But... one of the other reasons why I think there's low T is because of cannabis. I said that before, but I think there's some other reasons why cannabis. But also cholesterol lowering medication. Just about every man over. I bet they want me to be on it because mine's like just a tad bit over. They want to put everybody on that stuff.
Yeah.
And cholesterol is what creates hormones. I can't stress that enough. You have to have cholesterol to make your sex hormones. So if you lower them, you're going to have lower T. And then you add all the estrogens into the mix, and then you have even lower T. And then you have to take the T. T. See?
Yeah, that's wild.
It's just... It kind of makes me feel very negative. Because you can't do anything about it?
No. Because what are you just not going to eat? Or
even if you didn't eat,
it's true.
You still drink. I mean, I think there's some mitigating things you could do. Like, if I think of water, you can get like the filters. Mm-hmm. Like, there's probably filters that do that. But at the same time, what do you do with the food? You could grow it yourself, I guess. But if you let's say you get chickens.
Mm-hmm.
And
but then you're still feeding it.
You're still feeding it the stuff. Yeah. Now, what if you fed it grasshoppers? Do grasshoppers have microplastics?
They might.
How do you know? What is a microplastic? We've been saying this the whole time. Like, how micro are we talking? Like, somebody said one time that we eat or we ingest in some way a full credit card every week.
Wow.
Of microplastics, or the accumulative amount of that.
That's a lot.
I didn't think. Well, you don't think much of it. You hear that thing and you go, "Well, okay, so I'm eating plastic. So what?"
Yeah.
But you don't realize that it's got this estrogen effect. And
no, I that's exactly the thought that I had when I first started learning about microplastics, right. And then you pointed this out to me, and I was like, "Oh, well, that's not good."
Do you think I'm onto something here?
I do.
I think I'm onto something here.
I think you're onto something.
And there's nothing you can do about it.
Nope.
It's like, you know what it's like? It's like learning that the Armageddon asteroid's coming, and you think, I finally figured it out. I proved it. And then you just sit there and go, all right, here we go. And you just wait to die. So I found Armageddon, Joe. Mm-hmm. No, it's not that bad. Maybe it is. I don't think
the only thing good about learning about the Armageddon would be that you could quit your job and just kind of wait it out.
Well, you could. It would be freeing. Yeah. You finally take that trip to Spain you always wanted to do, except there's nobody there because they quit their jobs, so you can't have the.
That's true.
I was going to say pasta, but they don't have pasta. Do they have pasta in Spain? I should have said Italy.
I've never been, Trey. I don't know.
I'm not a traveler. I said they eat pasta in Spain.
I'm sure they eat pasta. Everybody eats pasta, right?
You know, I'm just thinking about that too.
Yeah.
I was not wrong. I was right. Speaking of Alex Jones, you remember? I have to mention this because it was so prevalent in the lexicon. You remember when he said, "They're turning the frickin' frogs gay"?
Yes.
We all remember that. It's funny.
One of my favorite remixes.
And we think, oh, that funny guy, what is he talking about? But this is what he was talking about. He was talking about atrazine. And I'm going to pull it up right now. I'm just going to read a little bit of it. It says, atrazine induces complete feminization and chemical castration in male frogs.
Yeah.
So he's not wrong,
but
he's not right, but he's right and wrong at the same time. It's very, very alarming to me to do this.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, endocrine disruptor. I don't know why they did this.
If it's doing that to amphibians, then there's no telling what else it does.
Well, you can make an argument that I'm not a frog.
But then again,
I can't prove that.
Yeah, you can't.
I only take the word of the
Then
doctor.
again, frogs, I mean, some species of frogs can switch their gender when the population gets out of balance.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I learned about it from Jurassic Park, and then I did some research.
Well, hold on a second.
Hold on. I did research afterwards, and it is true. If the female population gets too big, or vice versa, they can flip.
What a world we live in.
Yeah.
That's freaking weird.
It is. So it may not be as bad. I'm not saying it's not a problem. I'm just saying that...
Well, that's just a mechanism of action.
Yeah.
So I'm not concerned about the frog's sexuality necessarily. Maybe in the future I get really upset about it, but but it does show you that it does something.
Yeah.
Or at least it causes the switch. And I wouldn't say that
it's not a good thing.
No.
I'll say that.
I also wanted to mention I forgot to say it last time, and I don't remember if you knew about it, but I forgot to say another form of estrogen that we all ingest is through urine in the water supply, because when women take the birth control, that doesn't get filtered out, and we all drink it to pee-pee, and I'm not a big fan of that. I don't drink a lot of
pee-pee.
But I could get into it, maybe not. But
surely, if it's in tap water, it's in filtered water as well. I would imagine.
Because unless you have to have a specialized like charcoal. You've seen those charcoal type things. Maybe you could get it out, but it's not that gross because all treated water is kind of gross in a way. Like it's all been mixed together with excrement and other things. And it gets cleaned, that we hope, and then we hope the pipes are not disgusting inside, which I've seen some pipes that it looked a little bit.
My old house, every time you turn on the faucet, it was orange for about 30 seconds.
Yeah. So that's, maybe we're like the people with the hot dogs And we just don't think about it because if we thought about it too much, we go, well, I don't want to, I just want to lay down and die and give up. But one of the things I was going to say, since we're talking about the birth control, is just an interesting tidbit that women are actually attracted to different things depending on if they're taking birth control. I thought that was a weird thing too. I mean, it's off subject.
I didn't know it until you told me, but
I think I could have it backwards, but I think when they're on birth control, they like more feminine features on a man, and when they're not, they like the more masculine features. That's just something to take home with you. But I think we covered it, Joe.
Okay.
This may have been the most boring episode of these people, the world.
Yeah, the world.
But maybe they found it. I think it's very interesting.
I think it is too, and you brought some stuff to my attention that I was not even slightly aware of that I would like to do a little more research on.
And I think that nobody else has enough time, like the Rennie, to sit here and trudge through all this crap.
Yeah.
And put together this ball of yarn and then slightly unpull it. Unpull it?
Unpull it.
I worked backwards.
That's called pushing.
You're right. And on that note, I hope you took something away. It's not the funniest episode, but we're the funniest guys in the world. That's so right. We can make anything funny. But we hope you enjoyed it. We hope that this works. And we'll know in a second. And you'll know, you won't know, because this is all behind the scenes stuff. But if it works, we'll see you next time on Ready and Die.